Hi everyone, welcome to another video on Baldur's Gate 3. In this video, I'm going to go over the interview that was recently had with Nick Pichen, who is the lead systems designer at Larian Studios. And he went into the best advice that he could give prospective players on the characters and how to play them, or what characters to pick, or what classes to pick. So we'll start with the Barbarian. He basically said, don't hold back, go ham in battle. Just go nuts, rage and run in and do your thing. It will be epic. For the Wild Magic Barbarian, it's chaos squared, he said. You can trigger magical surges, creating new opportunities for threats while raging. Wild Heart has the flexibility to change your mind. You can change your spirits over time. So spirit animals. You don't have to stick with one the entire playthrough. Berserker is the most barbarian you can try. And he also said that a lot of people try soloing the game with the Berserker Barbarian. He's seen it, but don't do it through your first playthrough. Don't do it for your first playthrough. Next up, we've got the Fighter. It's a martial class, expert with all weapons, surprisingly versatile. Subclasses have interesting customizations. For example, the Battle Master has a very wide range of options to do things with enemies, and the Champion is the perfect class for new players to D&D and Baldur's Gate 3. Perfect subclass to hit for a lot of damage, lots of crits. You'll see big numbers when you play this class. And for the Fighter, as mentioned before, you can use any weapon, wear any armor, and what this allows you to do is you can mix and match equipment with magical properties. A lot of other classes can't do that because they're different levels of armor that you will pick up. For example, light versus medium versus heavy. But for the Fighter, any one of these you can mix and match. Then we got the Rogue. It's a staple. Your party probably needs a Rogue. It's great at skill checks. Lots of crime is to be had. You can steal, you can lockpick, you can do a lot of different things. Really good at stealth. You can reposition during combat with the hide action. Enemies will still know that you were there, but with some careful positioning or teleportation tricks, if you have any, you can hide during combat. And this is great for assassins, the assassin subclass, because you can play like a cat. You can jump in, kill somebody, jump out, and then jump in on someone else new and kill them as well. The Arcane Trickster gets the Mage Hand cantrip, which allows you to press buttons and pull levers. So you can do anything you can do with a character with the Mage Hand at release. So the Arcane Trickster, you could be hidden in battle and you could, be pushing enemies or stealing from them while there's a fight going on. Then we've got the Bard. This class is going to be a blast, and I think I might play a Bard to start. So here's why. You can play songs, you can steal spells. If you are a Bard or someone with performance, you can play instruments. So Bards get to play instruments for free. But if you have performance proficiency, then you can play instruments as well. You can pick the song you want to play. If there's someone else who plays music, they can play with you with different instruments, so you can actually get a melody going. Your character can whistle without an instrument too. So say you don't have your instrument handy, you can whistle the song. If you find an NPC bard, they might join you in musical performances. And the bard allows you to get out of very difficult situations with just talking. And the cool thing about the bard now is, even if you get out of a fight by talking your way through it, you still get experience for it. So you don't get hampered by avoiding fights. But he did go on to say that there are some fights that might be morally questionable to avoid. So there are going to be some fights that you're going to want to have regardless because of the moral issues involved. The performance art is a killing instrument for the Way of the Swords Bard. And they've done a lot with the animations for these to make them look like a performance art when they're attacking. Now let's move on to Warlock. He said this is another great starter class if you want to play caster but don't want to read all the spells. The spells for Warlock feel great. Arcfey Patron is an archetype of a charming devil, dominating people eventually. Enchantment magic is the core there. Then you've got the Great Old One. This is more of an eldritch type. It's pretty horror filled, so you're going to be using a lot of tentacles and spells that just destroy people. Then you've got the Fiend. This is all about the hot fires of hell, so you'll get a lot of fire-based damage and fire-based spells. Moving on to the Cleric. They can pick a deity they are following. It will come up a lot in dialogue, so a lot of your dialogue choices will be influenced by the deity that you follow. Mechanically, neck and neck with wizards in terms of varied and flexible. They are in their spells, in how varied and flexible they are in their spells. Radiant spells are great for the undead, and there's a lot of undead in the game, so clerics are a pretty good class for that. You can dabble into anything for the subclasses. You can be a dedicated healer, you can be a dedicated fighter, like a war cleric, and still deal a lot of damage or heal a lot. Then we've got the druid, a lot of effort with respect to what your wild shapes can do. Interesting actions for each, and for release, they're also improving them so they catch up in power as you level. It makes the toolkit of the druid very versatile. For example, let's say a fight isn't going well, you can actually transform into a badger and burrow your way out of that fight. You can also turn into a dinosaur. So I'm kind of like, I want to play druid because of this, but I don't know if I'll do it in my first playthrough. Decay is prevalent in the spore-based druid. Basically, decaying bodies can turn into zombies. So you can focus on that aspect of nature versus the growth aspect. Then you got the ranger. Pets grow in power with you, and they'll also change visually as well as you progress. The Gloomstalker is of sneak and shoot type for ranger. Hunter is also very interesting. It allows you to stand your ground either for melee or for range combat and just pew pew away or just fight head on. Then we've got the sorcerer. Wild magic is a source of power. So wild magic, the source of power is the chaos of the multiverse and can create magic surges, and they happen randomly. And then sometimes and then eventually you'll be able to create them at will. You can turn magic surges to your advantage. For example, if you get a surge that allows you to heal everyone, you can heal your entire party. Or if it allows you to swap with any enemy on the field, you can swap them into a very precarious situation. They have a big overlap with wizards. Meta magic options, for example, you can duplicate a spell. You can increase or decrease the range and duration of spells. You can make them more subtle during a battle. Then you've got the draconic bloodline sorcerer. If you're dragonborn, dual tone dragonborn skin, you'll also get powers from the ancestral dragon. For example, red dragon gives you fire related powers. And then finally, you've got the storm sorcerer. Think of Storm from the X-Men is the example he gave. One of the coolest things about this class or subclass is you can fly right after using a spell. So hard to reach places you can reach. And then you've got the monk. The monk is great for running around on the battlefield. The dialogue options often center around Zen themes, so you can disarm hostile NPCs. So if there's a heated debate going on, for example, in early access you had that debate with the tiefling and the human. If you're a monk, you might be able to disarm them by focusing the conversation on, calming down and being zen. Mechanically, it's more about unarmed attacks. The animations are amazing. He mentioned that they've got actual kung fu motion cap done, so you'll see a lot of that. There's the open hand is a variety of different attacks without weapons. You can even explode enemies by channeling their ki to their disadvantage. Monks can find magic equipment that synergizes with their attacks and movement, and these weapons and gear will allow you to stick with the open-handed combat. The Way of the Shadow is basically a ninja on steroids. You can teleport from shadow to shadow. So if you're planning something like a heist or if you're trying to steal something, this is like the epitome of just amazing movement and stealth. The Four Elements is basically Avatar from The Last Airbender, and they've worked very hard to make sure that you never run out of juice as the monk, as long as you're taking your rests at regular intervals and you're not just fighting constantly. I'm hoping they do add a monk tattoo that's similar to Aang from Avatar, but let's see if they do, because I'm definitely going to then be playing a Four Elements monk, and it's going to be Aang. Paladin. The oath that they swear is all they are about. Basically, Oath of Devotion, protect the innocent, quintessential knight in shining armor role. Vengeance is pretty angry and hell-bent on vengeance, and breaking the vengeance oath is very easy, because if you let evil go unpunished, you'll break it. So the oath is very much real, so try not to break it because it will have consequences throughout the game. Ancients, protecting nature. They're a little closer to druids. They understand nature and desire to protect it. If your oath becomes broken, you become an Oathbreaker Paladin, good for evil playthroughs. Only subclass that can't respec without atoning for its sins. So there is a feature that allows you to replay your class, in the sense that there's a powerful being that will allow you to reset your class. But for Paladins, if you break your oath, you have to atone for your sins first. And then finally, Wizards. You have access to the most spells in the game. Bard, like I mentioned earlier, can steal spells, but Wizards have the most. Biggest hotbar full of spells. Scrolls can be learned to cast new spells. Their subclasses are in response to various schools of magic. Divination is a cool one because when you rest, what you'll have is something like an omen or a premonition, which gives you the ability to roll 2d20s, and then you can save those for later. Let's say, for example, you're in combat and you had a natural 20 saved and a 2 saved. So you could give the 2 to an enemy who rolled a crit and be like, no, I saw this in a dream. You didn't do that. This is what you did. And then they roll a 2 and then they don't do anything or they miss. And then you could give a crit, a natural 20 to yourself or to one of your allies and say, I saw this in my dream. I saw that you did this much damage. And then they do that. So that's pretty cool. You can save those dice and use them later. And then there's a necromancy branch where you can basically build a little army, raise additional undead that will be more beefy. And in this class, he mentioned something interesting. He said he's seen some interesting things where you can create your own zombie apocalypse. So do with that what you will. And that's it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope it was informative. I tried to cut down 35 minutes of video into 11 minutes, so hopefully I succeeded. And yeah, don't forget basically to like, share, and subscribe. And keep in mind, when you play, you can basically pick anything. That's what I learned from this, and you'll have a blast. So pick the class that you want to play, and let's get into Baldur's Gate 3 in a few days here.